Bob, did you know they were
I got that one ringing out. Yeah, I'm reading that. All right. Everybody. All the full county board meetings to order. On 10th. Recess session. Call the roll, please.
Paul.
Yes.
Anderson.
Present.
Barron.
Here.
Bill.
Present.
Crow.
Present.
Curtis. Hanson. Halfbargen.
Here.
Kyle. Here. Crumweedy. Lamine.
Here.
Persley. Raymond.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
Schultz. Schuler.
Present.
Wasmer. Whitlow. Winden. Dumois.
Here. Jean, prayer, please.
Our minister for today is Reverend Jim Small from the Christian Church in Onarga.
Good.
He's all right, please.
Bow with me, please. O God of the universe, Father of all creation, provider of every good and perfect gift, including the gift of wisdom, we bow our heads and our hearts before you as we begin another session of deliberations. We recognize our limitations and we admit our weaknesses. We call upon you for wisdom, for compassion, and for common sense. We do humbly ask that you give the gift of encouragement, for these men and women can easily get discouraged at the mountain of work they need to accomplish in this session. More than 30,000 people in Iroquois County expect these board members to make their lives better, not just for tomorrow alone, but for their children and their grandchildren as well. Great God, inspire these men and women to be both bold and courageous. Give them boldness to break from the mindset that we've always done it this way, and to seek instead for effective ways to treat the malaise that is Illinois politics. Give them courage to examine their beliefs and convictions, and then to stand firm on those convictions. Empower them to stand like Abraham Lincoln, unswayed in the face of stinging rebuke and humiliation, convinced that you are guiding their steps. Almighty Father of all mankind, help these public servants to both live right and vote right, as you give them the ability to see what is right and just and true. Make each of us a lover of the freedoms granted to us by you, and documented in the Constitution of our nation and our state, and teach us to love the truth that you give. We are your servants, sir. We ask for the power to do your bidding as we serve the people of Iroquois County. In your most holy name we beseech thee for help. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the agenda. Charlie Alton, second. Kevin Hanson. Questions on the agenda? Voice vote, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. The minutes from the February 10th, 2015 recess session in front of you. We have a motion for those.
So moved.
Kyle, is there a second? Larry Hansparty. Questions on those? Those all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. You have payroll in front of you. So moved, I'm sure. Motion, is there a second to fix the payroll? Got a hand. Questions on the payroll? Roll call vote, please.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Halfbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schuler.
Yes.
Winden. Dumois.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes. Carries 14-0. Public comment.
I just needed to clarify what was on your desk. At our meeting last night, I gave out Post-it notes and wrote the number of which district you were next to your name, so that if there was anybody that was there, they could leave you a message for today. So that's what those are for. I'd like to say that the place was full and that we were all of one accord. Okay, but the place wasn't full, but there was a majority of people there that were in favor of moving the night meeting. They recommended to me that the next step would be to actually find out what opinion the county has as to whether we should move the night meeting. So a survey was discussed, and if people contact me or whoever they think can be helpful and get something like that started, I'm glad to help out with something like that. But just organizing that meeting was a big enough deal. Doing something like a survey will be even a bigger deal. So unless there's more public involvement, then things won't progress on that. I do want to, from a personal point of view, remind people here that when we talked about the family time being an issue, vacation time is family time, and losing vacation time to come in to the meeting is losing family time also. So I am still of the same opinion that I think our county is in favor of this, but until there's actual concrete action taken by the people of the county, then I guess things will stay as they are. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Being none. Chairman comment. I don't know if just with the night meeting, I understand both sides. I understand some people want to go the opposite way. So, taken by the county board, we said we'd address it at a later date. We will. I hope from this point forward for a little bit we can work on maybe looking at these budget numbers. We might get hit zero, we might get hit $4 million, we may lose $340 million, but for the short term, maybe we need to change our attention towards that right now. That's all I have. Outside committee report.
We have a short report from the Mental Health 708 Board, and they have just finished their audit, and there's a letter that the Kempen CPA group sent to be read to the county board. To whom it may concern, it has been our pleasure to provide auditing services for Iroquois Mental Health Center for the past 6 years. In our experience, the center has demonstrated the highest levels of integrity in providing mental health services for people of Iroquois County. During this fiscal year, ending June 30th, 2014, that's where part of our financial problems come in. Theirs is June 30th, ours is November 30th. The center received payments totaling $564,000 from the Iroquois County 708 Board. This funding represents approximately 30% of the center's total support and revenue. It plays a key role in enabling the center to efficiently provide quality mental services. With a total of 20,254 service hours provided by the center during the fiscal year ending June 30th, the 708 Board is funding these services at a cost of approximately $27.85 an hour. with a total of 3,167 individual clients served by the center during the fiscal year. The per client cost to the Illinois Board is approximately $178 per client on an annual basis. As you can probably imagine, by far the largest cost involved in providing mental health services is the cost of the employees and the professionals that currently provide them. It is not surprising that over 71% of the total 708 funding is used to cover these costs. For additional details with respect to the costs covered by 708 Center, please read page 25. So I do have a copy of the complete audit report, and if anybody would like to see that, let me know. They're welcome to see it. Thank you.
And outside committee reports?
The East Central Community Action Agency, which met in Danville this month. It was a very short meeting. They chose the nominating committee for next year's officers. It's going to be a large paradigm shift for the agency because Doug Arns, who's been the chairman of the board for many, many years, is retiring. So also, I think the treasurer of the board is also retiring. So I'll have a report for you next month as to who those officers will be.
Well,
Hey, Carl, is there an actual committee report from last night's, or was that, what type of meeting was it?
committee report.
I know it's not a committee.
Town hall we had.
Oh, so you come on, or maybe he's calling a special county board meeting, so it wasn't.
No.
Town hall meeting. Okay, so we should, no other outside committee reports. We'll move on to policy and procedure. Members of the county board, your committee to whom is referred policy and procedure will to submit the following report on matters before them. The committee met at the Administrative Center on February 20th, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present, County Board Chairman Anderson, Dan Raymond, Kevin Hansen, Russell Bills, John Scher, Dale Schultz, Weinberg, Librarian, and Troy Crumley were absent. Also present, Sheriff Derek Hagan, Finance Director Anita Speckman, County Clerk Lisa Fasher, County Engineer Bill Moore, IT PhD Administrator D. Shippert, Executive Director Eric Stacy, County Board Members Charlie Alt, Donna Crow, Larry Halfbarty, and Susan Lynn Bent. Marvin Sticknott, Andrew Garrett with Garrett Discovery, Heather Good with WICD News Channel 15, Will Brumleby of the Tax and Record, and Carla Waters with Pines Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Committee chairs gave their monthly reports. Planning and Zoning Chairman Dan Raymond said the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting will be held Tuesday, February 24th to discuss rezoning of 2.2 acres. Highway Chairman Russell Bill said his committee will discuss the matching tax resolutions and review ordinance 55 ILCS 5/5/2022C. Judicial Chairman John Scher said his committee will receive their normal reports. Finance Chairman Kevin Hansen reported the audit is moving along. As the Director, Eric Stacy visited another local jurisdiction and completed an online course as mandated by the state. Stacy also began working on an EOP revision. Stacy reported that Iroquois County LAPC creation is moving along nicely and the mitigation plan is due in December. Stacy received an offer to install radio in his personal truck and hopes to have this done soon. County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson said he is working with Mayor Bob Harwood on dates to set up a meeting for the ETSB advisory panel. Anderson would like to have a meeting before the full board meets in March. Anderson informed the committee of a notice he received from Andrews Engineering Incorporated in regards to a permit application that was submitted to the Illinois EPA for a solid waste project located in Donovan. The notice was passed around to the committee for their review. The claims will be forwarded to the Finance Committee for approval. Anderson reminded the committee of a vacancy on the Health Board. Anderson introduced Mr. Garrett Discovery to the committee. He explained that Mr. Garrett's attendance today is to give the committee a preliminary audit update. Mr. Garrett provided some background information pertaining to forensic audit, stating that former County Board Chairman Ron Copas contacted their company last year to assist in opening forensic images that were found during a financial audit. Garrett Discovery did not charge Iroquois County for this service. The images were opened and the files that were on the computers were sent back. This allowed Mr. Copas to view some of the web history. And Mr. Copas asked Garrett Discovery to look further to determine if there was any wrongdoing by any employees. Mr. Garrett stated it was very apparent that there were some unethical happenings and wasted time going on here at the county. Second review was also done at no charge, as it took only them a few hours to determine the results. Mr. Garrett said in November he was asked to provide Iroquois County with a quote to examine the rest of the county's computers that were linked to the Fort Iroquois Public Health Department. The quoted amount was $5,650 to examine up to 18 computers. Garrett's discovery came in at a later date and copied the computers forensically using court-certified equipment. Mr. Garrett noted the hard drives that were copied contained everything a person had done within the last 3 to 5 years. This includes their web history and even their cell phone history if they had hooked their cell phone up to their computer and backed it up. The forensic images were taken and examined for internet history. Mr. Garrett explained to the committee that there were 2 phases in this investigation. First phase is internet history, which includes web-based email, chat history, messenger programs. The second phase is email, which will require some cooperation with the county. He said some of the emails are obviously non-work related, but some don't stand out, and that is where the county will need to get involved and determine if they are inappropriate. Phase 1 of the investigation is complete, and Mr. Garrett provided some of the information from the preliminary results with the committee. However, he said none of the names from the forensic audit would be released until the final report is complete. Following is a list of top internet users Mr. Garrett shared with the committee. 76,240 inappropriate web searches, including hits on dating sites, Facebook, Amazon, eBay, and selling items online. 39,995 inappropriate web searches, including hits on dating sites, pornography sites, my31.com, which is a website to sell products. Number 3, 13,289 inappropriate web searches, including hits on Amazon, eBay, dating sites, Facebook, my31.com. Number 4, 12,953 inappropriate web searches, including Facebook, dating sites, Amazon, eBay. Mr. Garrett said among those he mentioned there were quite a few that fall under the category of casual users. These computers had less than 700 web searches over a 2-year period, but are still considered inappropriate. Based upon this information, Mr. Garrett said that 16 of the examined computers had 160,129 inappropriate web searches. And put that into dollars at an average of $44 per hour per employee. You can estimate the county losing $250,000 each year due to the amount of time the employees are spending on the internet rather than their actual jobs. Mr. Garrett told the committee that phase 2 of the investigation will require help from the county because it involves reviewing emails. Moved by Raymond, second by Bills, adjourned at 9:20 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and then moved with adopt. Second. Question? Hearing none? Clerk call the roll.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Hackbarton.
Yes.
Piles.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Van.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson.
Motion carries 14-0. Next up, Kevin Hanson, Finance Committee. There is a separate single piece of paper, then get states and other stuff. We locate that.
Mr. Chairman, members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred finance, the Big League Municipal Following report on the matters before them. The committee met at the Administrative Center on March 5th, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present were Kevin Hanson, Brett Smith, Charlie Alt, Russell Bill, Susan Wynn Benson, and Dan Raymond. Ernie Curtis was absent. Also present were County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Rita Speckman, Probation Director Tom Leckie, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Biergler, and State's Attorney Jim Devine, Sheriff Gary Kagan, County Clerk and Recorder Lisa Fancher, Treasurer Mindy Kuntz-Hagen, ICPHD Administrator Dee Shepard, ESDA Director Eric Searcy, and County Board members Gene Hiles, Randy Schultz of Schultz Insurance, Carl Waters of the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Randy Schultz reported he's working on insurance certificates for leased copy machines. Department heads gave their monthly report as follows. Probation. Director Tom Latham reported he received $24,000 additional allocation in a grant in aid and salary subsidy positions. Supervisor of Assessment Bob Biergler reported his office was rolled to 2015 assessment year. The county as a whole will experience an 8% increase on farmland compared to the typical 10%. As the coordinator, Eric CC, continued to revise the EOP, CC reminds the committee there is an LEPC meeting today at 2 p.m. Treasurer Mindy Kunshagen informed the committee that mobile home tax bills were mailed March 2nd and due with a due date in May. Also, an income tax payment was received today. Finance Director Nina Speckman gave the committee an update on fiscal year 2014 audit, stating both at Wheeler with Cook and Larson Allen is finishing for review. The committee held a discussion on the reduction of state income tax. Speckman prepared a worksheet calculating the effect of a reduction of 50% of the current receipts would have to the county's budget for Hanson's request. Susan Wynn-Bentz stressed the need to draft a resolution showing the drastic measures we have already taken to lower our budget. Hanson indicated all departments must look for cuts within the budget to offset the decrease in receipts. Wynn-Bentz suggested it may again be time to review the viability of a safety tax to ensure we continue the current level of law enforcement, getting the increase in illegal drug activity in the county. It was moved by Wynn-Bentz and seconded by Russell Bills to adopt a resolution to be sent to the governor's office and other lawmakers on behalf of the Iroquois County. The resolution will oppose Governor Rauner's suggested 50% cut to local county government funding, which is derived from state income tax. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. The committee reviews the claim. It was moved by Brett Smith and seconded by Bill to pay the bill subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Under old business, State's Attorney Jim Devine brought forth a proposal regarding the blunt revolving loan. The proposal consisted of a $800 monthly payment, $10,000 to be paid towards the principal by the end of 2015, $2,500 upon signing the new agreement, $3,500 to be paid September 1st, and $4,000 to be paid December 1st. 5% interest on new installment note for 7 years. Devine said he believes this to be a concrete proposal, but it is a county board decision. Devine also stated he does not think we need to go through the revolving loan fund because accepting the proposal would be considering renewing the loan. Bill should be strongly suggested asking for $10,000 up front rather than the installments. Bill said he called the blunt offering to pay a monthly payment sum plus a lump sum. And moved by Bill and seconded by Smith to give the county board chairman the power to act on State's Attorney Jim Devine's negotiations with the delinquent blunt revolving loan. A roll call vote was taken. Smith, aye. Bill's aye. Raymond, nay. Hanson, abstain. Motion carried. As there is no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Charlie Alden, seconded by Nan Lanning to adjourn at 9:50 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote. All wishes respectively submitted. And I move to adopt.
Motion on the floor to accept the finance report. Is there a second? Second. Russell Bill seconded. Question on the finance report.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Raymond, what was the reason for his nay vote?
I felt like putting all that on one person when it's such a disaster to begin with. We waited how many years to be paid, waiting one more month to get verification from the state, make sure we do this by the books. I don't want to rush into something that you never rush into anything, and this decision was rushed. And I don't feel that it's in the best interest of the county to rush into anything.
My feelings on it was, we've got an excellent board on this revolving loan fund. And we're going around this. I don't care if we do this with Mr. Blunt, but we need to go through our, we've got three bankers and some other professionals that they know what they're doing. This is their living. Let's let them review this. Because when we do it, we seem not to get it very far. And I don't want to risk the revolving loan fund because we're going to need that.
So basically, we're rejecting this repayment plan to go back to Blanc and negotiate something else? Is that the gist of the matter? What's proposed in the minutes by Jim Devine is basically being rejected, is that correct?
That's how I see it.
No,
It's like Jim's thinking, yeah, but I don't.
You know, the motion we're talking about here, I made in the committee, and the intent of it was to get, the committee looked at this issue for years now, and every time they look at it, they come up with different things. We need to come up with some type of solution. At this point, our state's attorney, Jim Devine, is working with the debtor on this particular case, and I think that we need to give our county board chairman power to act if Jim Devine comes up with a workable solution that he feels is the best deal he can get. Let our county board chairman act on it at that point then, and not have to drag it around another 30 days, 60 days to bring it back in front of the county board.
Pretty sure Jim feels that this is
Is
the best possible that
It
you're
is.
going to get out of it.
And I also, I've made repeated phone calls to Dave Gobin, who's with the revolving loan fund and based out of Springfield. I've left 4 messages since Thursday, and I have yet to receive a phone call back from him. So this is, I mean, if the board wants, and I sense that the board wants to pursue and get Springfield's blessing on this before we finalize anything, and that's fine. But just keep in mind, this is not moving as quickly as it should to get a decision and to get payments going on this loan again. But that's where we're at. If we want the blessings of Springfield, painfully slow. But I'll keep trying.
And then he's called.
Twice yesterday, and I haven't talked to a person yet.
Jim, do you feel it's a good idea to let you and Kyle, our county board chairman, act on it then? If you can get something together that you're comfortable with?
That's my advice.
And that's what the
I don't have a
motion
problem as long as I get the approval of that revolving fund. I mean, I think it'd be great to get it done, but, you know, and the other thing, we talked about a 50% cut of the, of our income tax for public knowledge. It's $500 and some thousand, a little over $500. And then there was also talk about, not paying the reimbursements. And on these things, that would be $200,000. So this would be significant to our budget. But the thing we need to understand is this is in the negotiating stage in Springfield, so it might not be as bad as that, but we need to be aware of it. We need to be cognizant of it.
Kevin, isn't this money repaid to the revolving loan fund? It doesn't go in our budget
No,
at all?
That is correct.
So the cuts are, whatever Illinois does isn't going to affect?
No, it has nothing to do with that. But I would just,
All
we talked about the cuts earlier on possible cuts on budget, and that, people need to understand it's that, and it's in the negotiation.
So Mr. Devine is contacting the state of Illinois, but when he contacts them, he doesn't have a proposal to give them because this one's been rejected. So what are we asking them to approve?
Well, we just shown them the plan, I don't think.
But the committee's
It says
rejected
County
it.
Bo- Schmidt, it was moved by Bill, second by Schmidt, to give County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson power to act on state attorney Jim Devine's negotiations with delinquent revolving loan.
We haven't rejected them. We passed these minutes, that's not rejected. You know, we just wanted a couple safety checks involved.
And that's great, but
Probably saying,
yeah, we're asking for their blessing on this. I don't remember them calling us asking if it was okay to cut the budget $500,000 if we didn't. Ask them for, I've been there to ask for forgiveness and the other kind of business.
Would just like to say on this, the terms that Jim has negotiated with Mr. Blunt, I know that this has been a long, drawn-out process, and Jim, thank you for your due diligence on this. And I think at this time, any amount of money that we're willing to get back is more than what we've gotten back in the last couple of years, and I think we should go ahead and get a plan, because right now we're getting zero, and we've gotten zero for 3 years, so.
Susan, that's incorrect information.
Okay. So, when's the last time you paid?
He was making a monthly payment up until we decided to go through foreclosure, us being the Iroquois County
Right.
Board,
When
back
was
in
that?
June of 2014.
Okay. My apologies. But I know it's been ongoing, and the payments have been no regular.
Foreclosure on his
If
home
he's
was
willing
right, and
to
that's when
do
something
some
was
regular
involved.
payments and to stand by this, it's still more money than we've gotten back from him, and it's a substantial amount of money. And I think we should urge our county chairman and our state attorney to follow through.
We'll vote for the minutes, and we'll go. Yeah.
The other thing to consider is what kind of precedent we set. If we, however much we choose not to accept or accept, we've got to expect that people are going to know how much we're willing to give up when it comes to this loan. And I'm not saying one way or another, but that is something to consider.
What, we've had 2 other agreements, and he sometimes missed quite a bit. So, I mean, you reach a point. So, I'm willing to go along with it.
I'm not sure of the intent when it was ever developed, maybe it can discuss it for a later date, that we can talk about it. The whole idea of giving the county board, they suck money and just let them go kick, I mean, just it's flawed, there's something wrong there. I don't know a lot of bankers here, but on the board, it just seems like a bad idea.
Banks have problems, so, and they do it for a living. We're here $5 a month. We should have problems.
What appears to me, if I could say so, what appears, if you look at just this particular issue of revolving loan fund, the only revolving loans that we ever been repaid on are really ones that we probably should have never made because they were too credit qualified to start out with, going by the statutes of using revolving loan funds. Most of them have been places like Howard Industries. I think that was $250,000 they lost, not counting a couple of grocery stores down in the south and east part of the county that's lost out on, a lumber yard in Stockland, and yeah, most of them are losers. But going by the guidelines, that's who's supposed to get the money.
We got a good board on that now, that's professional, so it should be better. We just want to keep it solid.
Go up real quick to this resolution that bottom of the first page, Susan made a motion for what we're going to act on there, Jim got there, so.
I recommend reading it through and asking for motion to approve it. And grant it.
Resolution calling for the governor and the general assembly to protect the necessary funding for county government. Whereas the Illinois county government are subject to countless unfunded mandates and numerous budget constraints. Whereas county government receives necessary funding through a local government distributed fund, which is controlled by the state of Illinois to carry out their duties and functions. Whereas proceed to county governments were previously produced by legislative action taken against the local government distributed fund, and whereas proposal presented for consideration would further reduce the disbursements to county and local government by a percentage that threaten operational capabilities of local government to minimally serve its citizens, and whereas county government rely on additional revenues and services supplied from several other agencies and units of local government that also rely on the same and other state-controlled funds, and whereas the state of Illinois the Illinois State Senate has taken affirmative steps to advance Senate Bill 274, which seeks to transfer money for several funds that are maintained for the benefit of county government, including but not limited to the motor fuel tax fund, state and local sales tax reform fund, county and mass transit district fund, local government tax fund, and personal property tax replacement fund. Whereas these proposed reductions and transfers further threaten public safety due to cuts in the personnel of law enforcement that will inevitably occur with less funds to local governments. Whereas Iroquois County has previously made cuts to its budgets due to shortfalls in state of Illinois funding, which directly resulted in temporary layoffs of road deputies and a permanent reduction to law enforcement staffing. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the members of the Board of Iroquois County, Illinois, this board urges the governor and Illinois General Assembly to reconsider their proposals to reduce funding for county government and to the responsibility to fund county governments at a level that allow the counties to carry out their necessary and legal obligated duties and functions. And it says we pass. So that's the ordinance.
Any other discussion on either the resolution or the body of the report?
Jim, do we need to separate that resolution or just pass it all?
I think you can pass it with the report if the board agrees.
Anybody got a complaint?
Any other discussion? Hearing none. I'll call it roll, please.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
No.
Hanson.
Yep.
Halfbargen.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Lamie.
Yes.
Raymond.
Second.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Schuer.
Yes.
Winbent.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
So what was 12 to 1 with one president.
Informational one here. Members of the County Board Committee who for negotiations and beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. The committee met at the Administrative Center on February 12, 2015 at 10 a.m. for FOP Telecommunicators Union negotiations. Members present were Anderson, Schuer, and Raymond. Anderson was absent. Also present, 911 Director Nina Duval, Board Labor Legal Representative David Hibben, FOP Legal Representative Jeff Burke, and FOP Telecommunicator Union member Stacy Schultz and Travis Waters. Meeting was called to order. Committee met to begin negotiation activities. All of which is respectfully submitted by all members present. Next up, on the mayor's amendment.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee numerous referred management services with deputies to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on February 10, 2015 at 1:30 p.m. Members present were Lyle Barron, Santa Cruz, John Schuer, Charlie Alt, and Larry Halfbargen. Devin Zumwalt was absent. Also present were Finance Director Anita Speckman, Maintenance Supervisor Larry Pankey, Sheriff Jerry Kagan, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, County Board Members Gene Hiles and Dale Schultz, Ted Bachtold and Kevin Slagle, representing Slagle Inflation Inc. Meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. The committee discussed the roofing project at the Administrative Center and jail. Committee's Chairman Lyle Behrens introduced Ted Bachtold and Kevin Slagle, representatives from Slagle Inflation Inc. of Fairbury, who were present to speak about the type of roofing product their company installed. Product is a polyurethane foam insulation that prevents water penetration with an elastomeric coating that adds additional protection from water as well as protection from the sun. Foam is renewable, however, over time the elastomeric coating will deteriorate from the sun and weather, which will make reapplication of the coating necessary. If this is not done correctly or in a timely fashion, the foam will then begin to deteriorate, causing cracks that will allow water to penetrate, causing leaks. The initial comes with a 10-year watertight warranty, includes labor and materials should there be a problem because of improper installation or product malfunction. This warranty is not prorated as most roof warranties. Should the roof become damaged for any reason, caulking would be used to fill the crack or hole to prevent further damage to the foam. Mr. Slagle said before an estimate could be given on the roof at the administrative center in jail, he would need to analyze the existing roof in order to determine if there are any leaks and see if the product could be applied over the top of the existing roof deck to ensure they know what they would be working with. A sample of the roofs may have to be taken. Maintenance Supervisor Larry Pankey said a core sample of each roof was taken approximately 2 years ago, but he is having trouble locating the results. The committee requested Slagle Installations Inc. provide a list of their existing customers and contact information in order to get a consumer opinion of the product. As there were no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Mr. Hathbarger and second to adjourn the meeting at 2:23 p.m. Motion carried by voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted. Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred management services would like leave to submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on March 2nd, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present were Lyle Berenstein, Pro John Short, Adam Zumwalt, Charlie Ault, and Larry Hathbarger. Also present, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Anita Speckman, Maintenance Supervisors Larry Pankey and Clyde Mintz. County Board members Gene Hiles and Carla Walker with Timers Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Bids for the heat pump in the county clerk's office were open. One bid was received for plumbing and heating for $12,590. It was moved by John Shure and seconded by Adam Zumwalt to accept Weber Plumbing and Heating bid for the heat pump in the county clerk's office in the amount of $12,590. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. It was moved by Charlie Ault and seconded by Larry Hathbarger to amend the previous motion to include a letter of endorsement that Iroquois County listed as additional insured of up to $1 million in liability. The county farm waterway was discussed. It will be surveyed soon. An update was given on the FSA office. Finance Director Anita Speckman said we are still waiting on final approval. Speckman informed the committee that the long-distance contract ends September 17th. Speckman said Cliff and Larson Allen has a division that reviews long-distance charges and helps cut costs. They reviewed our plan, and upon their review, they found that Iroquois County pays less than what they usually see, and there isn't much they can do for us. The committee instructed Speckman to ask for quotes on 1 and 3 years and also search for other vendors. Speckman noted that our phone costs have reduced drastically over the past 5 years. Maintenance Supervisor Larry Pankey reported on the following. The asbestos testing is complete and came back positive for asbestos on water lines. Pankey said the cost to glove and bag the asbestos is $4,800. The water line project, the jail is budgeted at $15,000. Is moved by Donna Crow and seconded by Larry Hathbarger to proceed with the water line to the jail and with asbestos removal within the proposed budget amount. Roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Pankey is researching the replacement of the 400-watt bulbs in the lamps outside with 40-watt LEDs. We will do some research and present numbers to the committee next month. The tool shed still contains numerous computers, and Pankey would like directions as to where to take them. It was agreed to contact the recycling center and ask if they would take the computers. Maintenance Supervisor Clyde Mintz reported on the following. Part-time housekeeping position has been filled. Metro Power was here last week and ran tests on the public health generator at no charge. Fire system was tested at Head Start. Management Chairman Lyle Bellings reminded Mintz to take care of the fume paint on the building at Head Start when the weather warms up. The committee discussed the boiler for the administrative building. Boiler chosen by Tenement Engineering is not the same boiler as at the jail. Thank you stated that it would make sense maintenance-wise to have the same boiler. The committee discussed capital improvement projects beginning with the parking lot resurfacing at the administrative center. This is budgeted at this is a budgeted $28,000 project that was moved by Adam T. Malt and seconded by Donna Crowe to get specifications written up for the parking lot resurfacing at the administration building and put it out for bid. Motion carried by voice vote. The roof project for the administrative center and jail were discussed next. Yankee said a vendor was there to do some core samples and will be getting in touch to see if we can patch some areas or if we need to replace the whole thing. He hopes to have specifications for next month's meeting. Thank you, reported Sheriff Derek Hagan has ordered the generator for the jail. The estimated completion date for the project is roughly 9 weeks. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Alt and seconded by Zumwalt to pay the bills, subject to county board approval. Motion carried by a roll call vote. It was moved by Scher and seconded by Alt to adjourn the meeting at 10:25 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted. And I move for adoption.
We'll have the floor to accept two management committee reports. Is there a second? Very happy. Question? Either one.
Go ahead, Jim. I have a question about the resurfacing. Do we have to put that out if it's under 30,000? Does it have to go out for bid?
State law does not require to go out and bid if it's under 30.
Okay. Then it'd be my recommendation that we use a resurfacing company that we know does a good job. We've used them before. They've been dependable and have used the right amount of materials and stuff. And I think we ought to get a company that we know is good and go with a contract with them. I'm afraid if we put it out for bids, we're going to end up with some fly-by-night person that doesn't really do the best job.
If that whole bad advocate on that one, I'd be afraid that we just told them that they're going to get the job, so charge us what you want, as long as it's less than $30,000. Would they use a reputable contract to do that? No, but we're in issues with it. Are there, Kevin?
Yeah, my question is, if they're redoing the parking lot, is there $30,000 cost going to cover the restriping?
It has, it is.
That would be what it is for.
It's less than 30 over there, and you had to
19,000, and that was, they came in and they did the rubberized crack sealing, and then they did the coal tar coating on it, and then they did the striping, including handicap markings on it too, for 19 at the courthouse.
Don't get me wrong, I want a picture, I like to keep the logo, but I need to, it's competitive too.
Well, and there's nothing that says we have to take the lowest bidder. If we have concerns about something, that is our responsibility to make sure that all bidders are responsible and can do the job.
We have specifications anyway in the bid, so if they can't, if the fly-by-nighter comes in and bids really low, we probably won't be able to beat that spec recommendation.
Any other questions? Don?
Couple of clarifications in paragraph 1, page 2, the tool shed. I think somebody was supposed to send out an email or something to see if there was anything else to dispose of at this time. So we were supposed to check, someone was supposed to check with other departments. Is that your recollection?
We were going to do that once we made sure that we could get rid of what we had.
Right, right. And then pursuant to the resurfacing, I think we have, just the way I'm reading it, we have the specifications. I think it was ready to be published. So however that needs to be worded, we have the specifications that day. So I guess it's correct to say they would be written up, but we had the specifications that day from Joel. So I don't know, maybe that's okay.
Any other questions on the management committee report? Seeing none, call roll please.
Crowe.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Aspargan.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Schuer.
Yes.
Lynn Benz. Newmaw.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
15-0.
Carried 14-0. Next up,
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred tax that they believe to submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on March 3rd, 2015 at 9 a.m. Members present were Schultz, Benz, and Schmidt. Troy Crumweedy, Donna Wasmer, Jed Whitlow, and Dan Persley were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Chief Deputy for the Treasurer's Office, Yvonne Doggett, County Clerk Lisa Blanchard, Supervisor of Assessments, Bob Yergler, Finance Director Anita Speckman, and the Health Department Administrator Dee Shippert. The meeting was called to order. The committee reviewed the claims. Due to lack of a quorum, it was recommended to forward the claims to the Finance Committee for approval. There were no public comments. The department heads gave their monthly reports. Supervisor of Assessments, Bob Yergler, said he is waiting to hear the final multiplier for the year. His office has rolled the 2015. The first item upon rolling into 2015 is to do the farmland conversion per the new law that is in place. Yergler stated the results are not terrible for us and that usually we see a 10% increase in assessed evaluation overall on farmland. This year, the county's percentage rate is going to be 8.16%. Yergler said there is a range for each township because this one has different types of soil throughout the county. The lowest range, which is in Sheldon, is at 6.56% increase, and the highest range, which is Loda, is at 15.86 increase. County Clerk Lisa Fancher reminded the committee that last month election judges had requested a polling change from Glen Raymond School to the Watsika Union Depot. Fancher said she does have some concerns with the stairs heading down to the basement of the depot. Therefore, Glen Raymond School will continue to be used as a polling location until another location is found. Fancher provided property fraud alert handouts to the committee. This is a free service which someone can enroll in to help prevent property fraud. Fancher reported that absentee voting has begun. Reporting for Treasurer Mindy Coons-Hagan, Chief Deputy Yvonne Doggett said that 490 mobile home bills were mailed out. Finance Director Anita Speckman noted that Coons-Hagan and Animal Control Director Dr. Youssef had asked her to begin researching software for dog programs. There is $12,000 budgeted for the software. Speckman isn't sure she should be the one researching the software, but isn't sure who to pass it on to. Speckman asked Dale Schultz for direction. Schultz said he would speak to Coons-Hagan and Dr. Youssef and instruct them to do the research. Tax Chairman Dale Schultz distributed a revised job description for the Animal Control Department head to review and discuss during next month's meeting. The meeting adjourned at 9:35 a.m., all of which is respectfully submitted and signed by those members present, and I move for its adoption.
motion on the floor to accept the tax committee report. For a second. Any questions? None? Call the roll.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Aspargan.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Lee. Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Schuer. Lynn Benz.
Yes.
Newmaw.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Motion carries 14-0. Health, please.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom is referred health that they believe to submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on March 3rd, 2015 at 9:45 a.m. Members present were Schultz, Benz, and Schmidt. Troy Crumweedy, Donna Wasmer, Jed Whitlow, and Dan Persley were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, Finance Director Anita Speckman, Health Department Administrator Dee Shippert, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, and Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Health Department Administrator Dee Schippert provided the committee with a copy of the Iroquois County Public Health Department's annual report dated July 1st, 2015 through November 30th, 2014, and everyone should have a copy of it today on their desk. And I might note that they did not have to do an annual report, correct, Dee? Because of the length of time the health department has been in service since the reorganization, but they chose to do one anyway, and it's very well done. Good job. Now I lost my place. Schippert also distributed a spreadsheet listing the grants and contracts and the summary report of activities for the county and community and school health programs, environmental and senior programs. Last month, Director of Environmental Services, Terry Island, did a presentation for the health department, and Schippert asked if more of these would be helpful. Dale Schultz noted he approached Schippert last month about doing presentations for the entire board as well. When Bent said she would be interested in seeing a presentation on adult protective services, it was confirmed that an employee from the health department would hold a presentation on adult protective services for the next health committee meeting. Schippert will also meet with County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson about preparing presentations for the entire board. The committee reviewed the claims, and due to a lack of quorum, it was recommended to forward the claims to the Finance Committee for approval. The meeting adjourned at 10:13 a.m., all of which is respectfully submitted and signed by all members present, and I will take it up.
Report accept the health committee report. Is there a second? Brett, second. Questions on the health report? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Hansbargen,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Lamine,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Schuer,
Yes.
Linden,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Crow, Hanson.
Motion carries 14-0. Bills, IT.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee has referred to IT to take Lisa Smith following the report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administration Center on March 3rd, 2015 at 10:25 a.m. Members present was Dale Schultz, Russell Bills, Kyle Anderson, Troy Plumley was absent. Also present, Finance Director Anita Speckman, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, and 911 Director Nida Duval. The meeting was called to order. There was no public comment. Finance Director Anita Speckman reported she was meeting with Proven A at 1 p.m. today to confirm new rates for the printer copier maintenance consolidation. Right now there are issues with the insurance certificate. Each time a printer copier is leased or purchased, a certificate of insurance is needed. If this isn't done, I should say, if this is not done, we are assessed an additional charge each month. Speckman also noted that the probation department's printer will be in with the consolidation. Speckman said that backup server is installed and running. The firewall is also installed. Speckman reminded Corey Douglas with area-wide about the IT policy, asked him to follow up with. Speckman distributed the acceptable use policy that all new hirees are given and asked to sign. This form should be updated. Speckman supplied to the committee a report from Clifton Larson Allen regarding the county's telephone expenses. Overall, CLA said they would be unable to assist us in lowering our costs. The review reads as follows. Most of the customers are paying $35 a phone. Iroquois County pays $17 a phone. CLA has never seen any customers get free bundles of long distance with their contract. The county receives first 200 long distance calls per trunk at no charge. Speckman noted that our long distance has dropped from $300 per month to $100 per month. In regards to IP Flex, CLA said many clients can't get fiber
And if they do, they pay up to $1,600 per month. The county pays $1,330 per month, plus $82.60 federal excess recovery fee. CLA did suggest finding another vendor for the POTS lines because AT&T will probably never renew this service. Long distance, Iroquois County pays 4.3 cents per minute. CLA considers this to be a good rate, plus we are not billed for full minute increments. Franklin told the committee she was instructed by the management committee to start negotiations with the long distance contracts and also to look for other vendors. However, she is having trouble finding long distance vendors in this area. Beckman also was approached by Lyle Barons to get a quote for a computer for maintenance supervisor to allow him to accept the email. County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson said he will move to get a quote and a decision will be made at a later date. It was moved by Russell Bills and seconded by Anderson to adjourn at 10:55 a.m. Motion carried. All of which is respectfully committed, and I would have to move to adoption of this report as signed by all members present.
Motion on the floor to adopt the IT report. Is there a second? Kevin Hanson, second. Any questions on the IT report?
You did an excellent job on this telephone thing. That just stands out by the author, points things out, and at the same time, it's saving money on phone costs. There was a lot of things that was done to save money on phone costs that kind of moves us into the next future, what we probably should have been at 10 years ago with electronic communications today.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Miles.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Lynn Benz. Yes. Greenwald.
Yes.
All.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Hackbarton.
Yes.
Motion carried, 14-0. Tom Shurd, additional public safety.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, the committee to whom was referred Judicial and Public Safety would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the courthouse on March 4, 2015 at 3 p.m. Members present were Scher, Barons, Crow, Hiles, and Lincoln. Ernie Curtis and Jed Whitlow were absent. Also present, Probation Supervisor Barb King, Coroner Bill Cheatham, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, Sheriff Derek Hagan, Judge James Kinzer, State's Attorney Jim Devine, County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson, 911 Director Nida Duble, and Carla Waters from the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Sheriff Derek Hagan's monthly report for January included: Patrol had 456 calls for service for the month of January, 30 higher than the previous year. Compared to January 2014, Patrol had 424 calls for service. Booked in 68 prisoners for the month of January. Average daily population in January, 22. Average length of stay for January, 26 days. Overtime in jail for January was 140 hours on the schedule. Had an inmate requiring hospitalization for 48 hours, resulting in 34 hours of overtime. One part-time correction employee has been approved and is being trained. Sheriff Derek Hagan's monthly report for February included: Patrol had 419 calls for service for the month of February. Year-to-date calls for service 875, an 8% increase over 2014. 2014 year-to-date calls for service should be 2015 year-to-date calls for service 805. Booked in 49 prisoners for the month of February. Year-to-date bookings 117. Average daily population in February 24, average length of stay for February 31 days. Year-to-date average population 23. Year-to-date average length of stay 21 days. Overtime in the jail for February was 252 hours on the schedule. Part-time correctional officer worked 25 hours. Both squad cars are on the road. Probation Supervisor Barb King reported her department has leased a copy machine to Proven and will be a part of the printer copier maintenance consolidation program. Approval hasn't been given for the purchase of a new squad car yet, so mileage reimbursements are still being submitted for the probation officers. State's Attorney Jim Devine reported the murder trial will begin March 30. Coroner Bill Cheatham spoke about the drug overdoses that were discussed last month. He said in a population of less than 30,000, there were 5 heroin overdoses last year. Kankakee County, which has a population of 113,000, confirmed 12 overdoses last year. Judicial Chairman John Scher said, with this being a growing problem, maybe we should address the issue through the media. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines distributed her monthly report to the committee for review. 911 Director Nida Dubel issued her ETSD report for February. Total calls for service 1,475. Police 881, Fire 72, Ambulance 307/184, change of quarters. Coroner 28, Animal Control 13. Last month 20% of 911 calls received were landline and 80% were wireless, with a total of 1,662 911 calls received. There were 2,768 non-emergency calls received. A new telecommunicator was hired. Telecommunicators worked 219.5 hours overtime in February. Working on legislative committee, planning to ask for $2 per cell phone instead of 73 cents per cell phone. Judge James Kinzer reported he approved $5,000 in special attorney hire fees for a case regarding a heroin addict, addicted mother who was turning over her parental rights. This hearing took 2.5 days. There is also a shaken baby case that Kinzer has approved $2,500 in fees for. Kinzer said he and Judge Gordon Rusfeld are thinking of recommending we hire a second assistant public defender. Kinzer and Rusfeld will look into this further and see if hiring a second assistant public defender will be more cost effective. Kinzer also discussed the contract we have with Language Line to provide translators for the courtroom at a cost of $1 per minute. This cost is much cheaper than expected, Kinzer said. The committee reviewed claims. It was moved by Gene Hiles and seconded by Lyle Behrens to play the claims subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Donna Crowe and seconded by Vince Lemie to adjourn the meeting at 3:51 p.m. Motion carried by a voice vote. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to accept the Municipal Public Safety Committee report. Is there a second? Second. Any questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Lemie,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Shore, Winbent, Greenwald, Alt,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Asbargen,
Yes.
Isles.
Yes.
Motion carried 14-0. Planning and Zoning Committee report, Dan Raymond.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom is referred, Planning and Zoning, would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on March 6th at 9 a.m. Members present were Raymond, Zumwalt, Schur. Absent was Wasmer, Curtis, and Kermley. Also present was Robert Yergler and Debbie Wright from the zoning office. Also in attendance were County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson. A quorum was present due to the attendance of County Board Chairman Kyle Anderson. Mr. Zumwalt made a motion to swap the planning and zoning report with the claims. Mr. Scher seconded the motion. The motion was approved by voice vote. Mr. Scher made a motion to approve the claims. The motion was seconded by Mr. Zumwalt. The roll call vote was taken. It was unanimous to approve the claims. Scott and Janella Schroeder came forward. They are requesting a rezoning on 2.7 acres from A2 agricultural to rural homestead to build a single-family dwelling. Mr. Schroeder said there was a house on the property in the 80s which burnt. Mr. Yergler said the location is north of Watsega. Mr. Schroeder said they own a 17-acre parcel, but the survey is for 2.7 acres. It is a correction there. It should be 2.27. The 2.27 with a little more than half of an acre out of the floodplain to build a house. There was general discussion on the road flooding at times. Mr. Zumwalt made a motion to approve the rezoning request of 2.27 acres from from A2 to rural homestead. Mr. Scher seconded the motion. A roll call vote was taken. It was unanimous to approve the rezoning request. There was general discussion on building residences on properties that may become inaccessible due to flooding. Mr. Zumwalt said this would take out a lot of properties. He said this would be no different than a snowstorm and the road not getting plowed. Mr. Scher wondered if the state's attorney, Jim Devine, should be asked regarding the liability for the county. Mr. Yergler reviewed the zoning office report. There are 4 residential building permits issued, with 1 being a house. There were inspections done in February, even with the cold weather. There will be a zoning board of appeals meeting March 31st, 2015 for the wind revision and the subdivision ordinance revision. County Engineer Joel Moore did not see any problems with any of the subdivision ordinance revisions. A note was received back from State's Attorney Jim Devine regarding a few minor changes. Mr. Yergler stated that he had talked to Mr. Devine and it would not hold up the hearing process. A copy of Mr. Devine's email was included when a file is placed in the county board boxes. There was general discussion regarding a lady who currently has 5 dogs. She tried to take one to a shelter, but they would not take it due to the dogs being aggressive. The county goes by the number of dogs due to trouble that has occurred in the past. Dr. Youssef had discussed this with Mr. Raymond prior to the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. There was no old business. Mr. Zumwalt made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Scher seconded the motion. This motion was approved by voice vote. The meeting was adjourned at 9:25 a.m. The motion was adjourned at 9:25 a.m. And there is a copy here too. Everybody should have a copy of the ordinance. It's got a map of the property. I moved for adoption of this report.
The Planning and Zoning Committee report, is there a second? For a second. Any questions?
That ordinance is just for that one piece of property.
Yes.
Okay. We haven't seen a copy of what's changing in the,
That was last month. That came through last month. It will be back after it goes to the zoning board of appeals.
okay.
Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Raymond.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Linden. Yes. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crow. Hanson.
Yes.
Hasbargen.
Yes.
Pyle.
Yes.
Lemie.
Yes.
Carries 14-0. Signed shortly, Mr. and Mrs. Schroeder. All right. Mr. Bill, Transportation Highway.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee will refer transportation highways to favorably dismiss the following report on the matters before them. The The committee met at the Iroquois County Highway Building on March the 6th at 9 a.m. Members present was Bills, Alt, Hanson, Crow, and Larry Hashbarger. Bill Schultz and Dean House were absent. Also present, County Engineer Joe Moore, Iroquois Township Road Commissioner Scott Storm, and Lovejoy Road Commissioner Bob Weather. The meeting was called to order. There was no public comment. The claims of financial reports for the month were reviewed. It was moved by Kevin Hansen and seconded by Charles Ault to pay the bill subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was stated. Motion carried. County highway was $75,281. County bridge was $4,170. County matching was $91,230. County motor fuel tax was $51,606, and township motor fuel tax was $42,913. County Engineer Bill Moore discussed a preliminary engineering agreement for a bridge inspection, for bridge inspections with the committee. This is an annual agreement with combined Dorf, Doc, PEP, whatever the name was. It's all black lights on it. And there will be 135 bridge inspections this year for a total cost of $26,500, more said. It was moved by all, in fact by Larry Hashbarger, to approve the preliminary engineering agreement for bridge inspections. Motion carried by voice vote. Moore presented a resolution for improvement for County Highway 15, stating it would consist of removal of existing structure and construction of a triple box culvert. Our cost to be paid from matching tax funds is $7,000. It was moved by Hashbarger and seconded by Hanson to approve the resolution for improvement on County Highway 15. Motion carried by voice vote. A resolution for improvement for County Highway 42 using matching tax funds in the amount of $137,000 was discussed. The resolution consisted of the removal of 2 existing bridges and the construction of 2 single-span precast concrete deck beam structures. It was moved by Hanson and seconded by Hashbarger to approve the resolution for improvement on County Highway 42. Motion carried by voice vote. The resolution for improvement for a culvert in Iroquois Township was discussed among the committee. It stated that the cost of this project is $15,000 and may have to be let out. It was moved by Donna Crow and seconded by Alt to approve the resolution for improvement for the project in the Iroquois Township. Motion carried by voice vote. Moore presented a resolution for improvement for a pipe replacement on County Highway 23 using motor fuel tax funds in the amount of $45,000. It was moved by Hanson and seconded by Hashbarger to approve the resolution for improvement for pipe replacement on County Highway 23. Motion carried by voice vote. Moore told the committee he was contacted by someone about a property that is owned by the county. This individual is interested in purchasing the property. The topic will be added to an April agenda and the committee will discuss approval. Last month, the ordinance to purchase, I think that was supposed to be for used equipment, was adopted by the committee. Hanson brought suggestions from the county auditors for changes in the wording. The changes include the items purchased are budgeted. The committee give prior approval of specified equipment to be purchased and also limit the dollar amount. The committee agreed it is very important that these items be included in the minutes of the meeting. This will be discussed further during the April committee meeting. It was moved by Crowe and seconded by Hashbarger to adjourn at 9:47 a.m. That motion carried. All which respectfully submitted, signed by all members present,
And let's move to the adoption of this report.
On the floor, accept Transportation and Highway Committee report, is there a second? Crowe, second. Questions on the Transportation and Highway report? Seeing none. Call roll, please.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Winbent. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Galt.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Asbargen.
Yes.
Isles.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes. Motion carries 14-0. Stuff is the appointment. Any questions on the appointment? Last motion, Hanson, accept the appointment. Second. Tom Sherr. Yep.
What's going on in Kavanaugh? Why are they all quitting?
I don't know.
The president, the treasurer, the secretary, they're all quit.
Maybe they're retired. It's a good question to ask. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Nay. Crowe. Motion carries 13-1. Action to approve the claims.
So moved.
Miles, for a second. Fleming. Any questions on the claims? Questions? Call the roll, please.
Shore.
Yes.
Winbent. Zumwalt.
Yes.
Galt.
Yes.
Anderson. Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yeah.
Asbargen. Isles.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
Raymond. Schmidt.
Yes.
Carried 14-0. Any old business? New business? Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
This is one Ben. And one second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I was used to quit.
Just got one.
I got one.